Hello once again to my fellow HO slot car racing fans. This is Mark Natividad over at West Coast Slot Cars once again with another exciting video. And today's video is going to be on the different power supplies, terminal tracks, options, controllers, all the above. Check all the boxes that apply. And hello, and I hope that everyone is doing okay and that you're racing a lot of slot cars. And if you need to reach me or my buddy Tam, there is our contact info, and you could reach us there at our email address or at our phone numbers. Give us a jingle if it relates anything to HO slot cars. We got time for you. And if we don't, we'll make the time. All right, let's get going. Let me remove this, and let's get going with all of this, all of these great pieces, all of this stuff here. Like, what's all this stuff? There's my workbench. That's where all the magic happens. All right, so let's zoom over to this one here and start here with this is the AFX terminal track, and this particular terminal track is standard usually with a set, or if you're buying a kit, or it's going to come with at least one of these, either or, most likely this one. So this particular one is for use with a single power supply, which goes here, and two controllers which go on the outside. So one power pack for 2 lanes. Each car is being powered by one pack, so keep in mind that if you fly off the track and the other person is still going, the other person that is on the track will mostly experience a power surge, and usually off they go. It takes a bit of getting used to, but once you get the hang of it, you'll get used to it. So just don't fall off. Come on, just don't fall off the track. Is it that hard? It could be challenging. Watch your speed. Fast in the straight, slow in the corners. That's the rule. So again, this is your basic terminal track. So if you want to avoid that problem, you're going to move down here to the double power pack, or the double terminal here. So this actually single track is one power pack for each lane, and the 2 controllers are on the outside. So if you are using one of these tracks, you will need 2 power packs, just so you know. Don't get caught short. So otherwise there'll be only one lane of racing. So this is great. It's great for power. Each car has its own power. Whether you fall off or not, the power is consistent, and it makes for great power around your layout. All right, next, let's move down to some old school stuff here. Ooh, this is an Aurora AFX. This is the tab track that has those little tabs on it. And this is a pretty pristine condition. All the metal tabs are there, and the plastic tabs where it connects, that's there too. I think I lost the sticker. Oh, there it is. I lost the sticker, so I just made some new ones there. So that's going to be the power, and then the 2 yellow ones are going to be the controllers. So again, same as this one here. It's similar, just a different style back from the 70s. 1 power pack, 2 controllers, power surge when the car falls off. An easy way around this is you get 2 of these tracks, plug in 1 power supply to each track, and make sure you're using opposite ones. And that way you can have 1 power pack per lane. But again, you'll need 2 of these tracks and 2 power supplies, as opposed to this one, 1 track, 2 power supplies. So there you're all set. Let's move over to the Tyco. Again, very similar to your standard basic single power pack with 2 controllers. That's the way Tyco does it. If again you want to run a power pack in each lane, then you'll need 2 of these, 2 power packs, and you're set. All right, now let's swing over to some other options here, and I'll talk about this one really quick. So this is the one that I use. So building my tracks, this is the solder method, and I only use this method if I am using my commercial power supply. So that takes some wiring, it takes some skill and knowledge with soldering, but nevertheless, if you're good with soldering, then no problem. But if you're not, then please have somebody who knows how to do it for you, and they'll do a better job, and it'll be safe. So basically, solder connection. I expose some of the plastic, or they remove the plastic and expose some of the metal underneath, and rub it with a little file, run a bead of solder in there, run the solder on the wire, connect them together, let them get a good melt, and it should be solid. So you should be able to pull on it a little bit, give it a tug, and it shouldn't move. A lot of people will glue these using epoxy or silicone glue like Goop or E600, or tape. Tape will be fine too. But again, make sure you have a good solid connection. And again, this is only for the commercial power supply. And we'll get to that in a second. And before we move on, we're going to talk about the power packs. These are the standard power packs for the different manufacturers. We have Tyco and 2 from AFX. This is Tomy Aurora, and that's AFX. Basically, Tyco, their power pack is this particular one. They have 2. One is going to be the standard, which is about 20 volts. There is an HP or a high performance power pack that'll run at about almost 22 volts. It's 21.8 or something like that. Yeah, 21.8. So that's going to be the standard power supply. And basically, there's the plug, and then this plugs right in here, and you're all set. You're good to go. All right, here's our 2 Aurora Tomy AFX. Aurora is going to give you a solid 22 volts. And if you're looking for information, there is it, the information right there. There it is. And it tells you how many volts. And last but not least, this is another great option. The more recent is the AFX Tri-Power Pack. And the Tri-Power Pack is going to have 3 settings: beginner, intermediate, and expert. And it is great if you have beginner slot car racers or young racers. They don't quite know how to control the throttle, so they basically grab the controller, they peg it, whoosh, off the car goes. So with this option, you're actually getting some choices. So there you go, zooming in on that. You get, at the lowest setting is 8 volts, the intermediate setting is 12 volts, and the expert setting is 22 volts. So there you have it. That's great. 2 of these with the dual power track, dual power terminal track, is probably one of the best options. You'll love it. You got to do it. You just got to do it. If you're going to upgrade, you may as well. You can keep your other one, but just saying. All right, so there's basically all the options on the regular stuff. So this is the regular commercial stuff, with exception for this one. Again, this is that's just a straight. It's just a regular AFX Tomy straight, in which I soldered onto. And that, we come over to this. Okay, this is the TrackMate DC regulated power supply. Gosh, I've had this power supply since the early 2000s, so it's probably about 20 years old at least, and it's still ticking. It still works. I still use it with my bigger layouts. I'll use this on my 4-lane layouts, my 4-lane AFX, and also my 4-lane MaxTrack. Got 2 of them, just in case one goes south. There's a fuse in there, which if you blow a fuse, pretty easy to replace. Let's see, there's your volts right there. So it goes up to 30 volts and 10 amps. There is where you connect right there. There is the adjustment for the power up or down, and there's the on and off switch. So basically, people always ask me, and this is a very sensitive subject, what power do you run for what cars? And again, gosh, a sensitive subject. I don't make recommendations. You kind of have to try it, but keep in mind, the higher the power, the hotter the car. That's always been a saying of mine. And the manufacturers go with 8 to 22 volts. So I can basically say a safe running rate will be 8 to 22. Sometimes I'll go to 24 for the super stock or for the modified. If you're running light bulbs or anything like that, keep in mind that those will blow at higher voltage. So again, it's entirely up to you, whatever works best for you. Last but not least, let's go over this little connector, which I made. This is basically cut off of one of these. So I snipped it right here. I had a bad power pack or one that blew out. Made a cord out of it, and in the ends of this, I just soldered on some eyes so that I can connect onto these terminals. So basically, I unscrew it, screw it onto the post, tighten it down, turn it on, and then this will plug right into your terminal track. So keep in mind too, the arrows on here. So this direction is for counterclockwise, and that direction is for clockwise. And again, that plugs right in. Again, if you're making these, if you're making something, and if you're soldering or messing with wiring, please, 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 by all means, I hope that you know what you're doing. And if you don't, have somebody else do it that knows. That way you'll be safe. We don't want any power failures blowing out a neighborhood or anything like that. Well, not that it's going to blow out a neighborhood, but there are things as electrical fires and things. So word of caution, and use your discretion and do what you can according to your ability. And if not, have somebody else do it who can. All right, so there you go. There's a commercial power supply. Also, these are available at Viper Slot Cars. You can talk to Dan over there. Hey, Dan, what's up? You can talk to Dan. Tell him Mark at West Coast sent you. And he's got a power supply over there as well. I can't remember what I paid for this. I got it back in the early 2000s. I know it was under $100, and I think it was also before TrackMate moved to Canada. He was here in the United States. So, yeah, but man, I tell you, something that's tried and true, and it's still ticking. It's a great power supply, great power around the track, never an issue, adjustable. If you're running T-Jets or cars or all cars, you can run any car with this. All right, so there you have the all of my knowledge on the terminal tracks, the power packs, and the commercial power supply. All right, I'm gonna blind you out for a second, and I'm gonna go over to the controllers. Please enjoy the music while the party's being reached. There's no music. There we go. In we go. There are your controllers. All right, so gosh, controllers. Again, another touchy subject because we all have our preferences, and the type of cars that we run, the different ohms of the controllers. There's variable ohms, adjustable. Some are set. Some you can buy resistors for. So let's go over all that. All right. Let's move this aside. So starting with my AFX, this is your standard AFX controller, and this will come with your AFX sets. You'll get 2 of them. If you've got a 4-lane, you'll get 4. And this is, as you can see, it's a very small, and we'll compare the size here in a second, but this is a 120 ohm controller. This goes with the Mega G Plus cars. You'll need a 120 ohm controller to control those cars. All right, and those come with the plugs, and you just plug that into the terminal where it goes, and off you go. All right, let's move up. Let's move up to the next one here, and that is a Parma. And probably my first upgrade controller I ever got was a Parma, and this one is a 35 ohm. This is mine. I used to use this a lot with my super stocks. You can use it with the a little bit hotter cars, lower ohm armature cars. Ooh, this one's a little stiff. I need to oil it. It's been a while because I've been using my other controllers. So they're great. They come with the boots. These are alligator clips. And basically, if you're at a commercial track or a track with a commercial power supply, you'll hook these onto the terminals. So you got a white, you have a black, and you have a red. So positive, negative, and the brake. So we'll talk about adapters for the other tracks here in a second. That's your Parma. Parmas I've seen on eBay. You can get them used. If you go with a 45 ohm, that's a good general one to have, except for if you're running T-Jets or brass chassis or things like that. So usually if you're running with a club, they can make a recommendation or just see what the other guys are using. So again, very personal with the controllers. So again, guys and girls, just a suggestion. So find what you like. Find what suits you best. All right, so let's move on over. This is it's recent. This is probably my most recent. This is a DS controller. So the DS is an electronic controller. It's very nice. It's a little bit larger than the Parma, a little bit larger in footprint, but they both feel very comfortable in the hand. They feel like they fit my hand. This one has a very soft feather control. It moves very well. The wiper arm moves well across the band here on the top. Again, your standard alligator clips. There you go. So the DS will cost you for just a controller that is a single ohm. DMs are about $46, 45, 46. They're online. My buddy Terry Flynn has them over at Hardin Creek. You can search eBay and find them. They also make the adjustable ohm controllers with a toggle switch. So 2 of their adjustable ohm controllers. There's a 6090, 120. And there's also a newer one, which is a 35, 45, 55. And those will cost you about $80 complete. Those will also have the alligator clips on them. So again, good options to have. I guess one can never have too many controllers, as you can see. All right, moving on. This is the Professor motor, and this is a Professor motor 45 ohm electronic controller. I've had these for probably about 20 years as well. Still doing great. Not a lot of maintenance. Just wiping off the arm where it sweeps across and oiling the bushing in there, and that's about it. And I know this is mine. It got a little Viper sticker on it. Viper, and of course, I had room on the other side, so I had to put an AFX on it as well. So that's how I know it's my controller. Hey, that's my controller. Again, that'll come with your standard alligator clips. Now, some of the controllers are priced a little bit less so that you can add your own connector. Some people use banana plugs or other types of plugs. So if you have another type of plug that you need to use and get the one that doesn't have the alligator clips, then you could put your own on. So here's our size comparison. So you can see the size, the AFX here. I mean, very small. I mean, this is a toy controller. It doesn't fit in my hand. My hand is way too big for it. But for a kid, a small kid, when my son was little, he loved this. It was fit perfect. So great for kids, but you probably want something a little bit more adult. You can move up to the Parma. Fits better in your hand. I mean, I know this is a toy controller, the AFX. By all means, it works. It does its job. But, you know, if you want something a little bit more adult that fits better in your hand, then I would go with the Parma on up to the Professor motor. So there you have some controller options. I have a DeFalco controller. That's a whole nother level of controller. That's a $200 controller. So I use that when I do my serious racing, when I'm racing up there at Musgrave out in Riverside or with Score or any of those guys. Yeah, that's a pretty serious controller. But I just wanted to go over the basic options. So probably your least expensive on this side on the right going over to the left. Most expensive actually is going to be the DS, which runs about, again, about $53. Sorry, yeah, DS, $53. And then the Professor motor, about $46. So there you have it. And lastly, another option here. I made these so that I can just plug right into the terminal track on the AFX. So I had a bad controller, and what I did is I snipped it. So I just snipped it right there, and then I soldered on some round eyelets so that I can connect my wires. I can connect my alligator clips. So with 2 wires and the alligator clips, you're only going to be connecting the white and the black wires, and you have to find out which way you're going and all that. So again, know before you go, or know before you do it, and make sure that all your wiring is solid. I carry a couple of them. Here's another one that I made. This one's a little different. I basically cracked this whole thing open. I popped the seal off of it. I opened it up. I took off the thin wire, which is a thinner wire. I resoldered it to the little connections on the side so that it gets power. And then I added the eyes there so I can actually connect my alligator clips as well. So a little more challenging to do. Again, if you're savvy with this, you have good knowledge in how to do it, then be my guest. But if you don't, please have somebody do it that knows how. And basically I resoldered it and then I epoxied it and put it in a clamp or a vise and then let it set. So that's good. And I carry a few of these in my box. That way, if I'm going to a race and I want to use a different controller, or somebody is using these controllers and they want to try a better one, that's how I actually let people test the controllers out to see which one they like. I just hook it up and let them try it. So nevertheless, always good to have in my box. So there's a couple of options for you. All right, I think that's going to wrap it up. So we talked about the terminal tracks, the power packs, the commercial power supplies, the controllers, the adapters, and all the different options. So again, guys, this is very subjective, open to comments and criticism. But thank you to everybody for subscribing to my YouTube channel. I have well over 300 subscribers, and because of you guys, it really fires me up and it encourages me to make more videos. And again, thanks Willie Ellis for the suggestion. I think it was a great suggestion for those who really don't know. And we've all been in that situation where you bought something and it didn't quite match your expectations. So nevertheless, again, thank you to the manufacturers. Gosh, long list. I hope I get everybody in: AFX, Hardin Creek, Viper, Super Tires, Wizard, Auto World, and if Tyco was still in business, Tyco, eBay for all that, getting all those parts and having a place to buy stuff. So nevertheless, that is going to do it for today. And keep racing, guys. Race happy. Open to comments and suggestions. Hit me up. Please like, please subscribe. And again, this is Mark Natividad over at West Coast Slot Cars, signing out saying goodbye for now.